All right, so here's our Pomodoro editing session, part number 5. Looks like I'm 37 minutes into our podcast here. And then go to the end, what's it about, of about 60 minutes. We're about halfway through. We're up the part 5 of 15-minute, of 25-minute blocks. Let's go. So let's get our timer started. What I'm doing, if you're only just joining, is I am editing episode 12 of the Code and Character podcast using the multi-tool in KDN Live. That means that I'm just going through and switching camera angles. What we have is 3 angles. We've got one for each host, and that screen. We've got one for each host, myself and Ivan, and then call it wired angle, right? So what I can do is each of those camera positions is numbered 1, 2, and 3, which you can see up here. And as we go through, we can see there's 2 separate audio tracks, so I can see when either of us is particularly talking, which is a little bit helpful as a guide to know when to switch. But I'm also watching through the video, because when it holds on one shot for too long, it become a little boring and disengaging. So whenever a host has a reaction, I tend to swap cameras then too. It takes a while, right? But let's keep going.
Us have
here.
actually knowledge to each other.
Yeah.
They're not all going to be
So
the best episode in the world. Let's just get together and record an episode, and they've all turned out pretty good.
3 on my keyboard to switch.
You know, when you're arm and ahhing and
we
this,
jump back, you can see
pretty
I
good.
can switch to number 3.
You know, when you're arm and ahhing and this, you know.
So now it's just.
I like how we work together, though. We don't overthink it too much. You and I get together. What are we going to talk about? One of these, pick one, we go.
Switch to one.
And I think it works really well for us in this sense. And
then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then back to me.
There was something else I was going to think of, but
cut this
I've
bit
lost
out.
that. So,
Or maybe not.
and still talking about that perfectionism, though, and just getting it done.
I think I will. I'm going to cut that out now. Forget the multi-tool. Let's go. What the hell was that? Oh, man. What button I press that makes things disappear like that?
There was something else I was going to think of, but I've lost that. So, and I think it works really well for us in this sense.
Let's cut it there. And take all that out. Cut the whole lot. It's gone. Bring this down.
No, I think it works really well for us in this sense.
Why is there a gap? What's this gap? What's this? Get rid of that.
Still talk in this sense. Still talking about that.
Let's cut this here too. No.
Really well for us in this sense. Still talking about that.
Let's go back to multi-tool again. Multicam tool.
Still talking about that perfectionism, though, and just getting it done. Us in this sense.
Let's get on that edge and jump to me.
Still talking about that perfectionism, though, and just getting it done.
And then we'll do a cut here too. Cut. No, cut the whole lot.
About that perfectionism, though, and just getting it done. I mean, it does relate
Back to multi-tool, multicam tool.
back to. I'm sure you've experienced the same in web development. Like I suffer from a bit of a fear sometimes of login. Like if I don't get it right now,
It's been going for a while, so it's getting a bit boring, and just around the
login,
right time you see Ivan.
like if I don't get it right,
so let's swap back to get both of us.
like if I don't get it right now, if I don't have all my stuff organized, then later on when I do organize it, I'm going to want to get access to stuff, but I've already. So it comes especially from web development. Like if the system's built wrong, then the system becomes very complex.
He's been nodding a bit, but see that noise?
It becomes very complex very quickly.
See, he goes, you can see it here. So we're going to do a...
Very
might cut there.
the system becomes very complex very quickly, and then you can't go back and change the. If you make a mistake at the beginning, you're kind of locked into it. I don't think that happens so much with the content process, but it's still a bit of a fear. Like that's if I just go and knock out a video now, then what about when I get my have I got it wrong? Have I made a mistake? Have I? Because if I've stored it in these folders and I haven't recorded the subtitles and I didn't name it properly, how am I going to find it later? So then you sit there and you try and name them all properly, and you get caught in this analysis paralysis. And that's these episodes from this podcast. I've because they start filling up the hard drive on my main machine. I've got a backup machine using KDN Live. I haven't got the experience to know when I move the video editing project file. Then I've used some videos that are from some of the other videos and other projects, and then if I move them, and then those projects are now on a different drive, does it? And I just can't. I haven't got time to sit here for 4 hours and go through every single project and make sure that copy them all over and back them up. And if they're gone, they're gone. Like I've kind of had to accept that. Like back them up. And if they're gone, they're gone. Like I've kind of had to accept that. Like I've edited it, I've produced it, I've rendered it, it's up on YouTube. If I lose the source files, then that's, and I could probably, that's in an emergency, I could rebuild them. But it's like, even, do we need those backups? Like, do I really want to spend hours and days trying to sort out my backup strategy for these episodes when once they've rendered, what's the chance of ever having to go back to the source files in the first place anyway?
It is.
How much value is there really in them? Like, as a web developer, I've been taught so much about backup, but then there's also a case of how much energy you're expending on backups on low value stuff.
Yeah.
Just delete it.
Yeah.
And I think that's this content creation thing. It's like I want to document everything for posterity. That's when I've mentioned to you about doing a AI overwhelm topic. That's one of the things I find with ChatGPT. You'll sit there and talk to it for an hour, and then you've got 100 pages of output. And
pressed the wrong button there, Stan.
Talk for an hour, and then one of the things I find with ChatGPT, you'll sit there and talk to it for an hour, and then you've got 100 pages of output, and there's some gems of information in there, and it's like, well, it's kind of, and it's hard to search on, and there's so much information, and it's hard to let it go. And I've thought of so many different ways. How can I organize this? How can I structure it? Should I index it in a search thing? You know what? And I probably could copy and paste, but it's just trying to keep up with that. It's just such an overwhelming amount of information.
Oh, that's been both of us.
And there's some gems of information in there, and it's like, well,
all right, I'm just gonna cut this. Let's cut that out. I'm back to multicam.
Of output, and there's some gems of information in there, and it's like, well, it's kind of, and it's hard to search on, and it's just so much information, and it's hard to let it go. And I've thought of so many different ways. How can I organize this? How can I structure it? Should I index it in a search thing? You know what? And I probably could copy and paste, but it's just trying to keep up with that. It's just such an overwhelming amount of information that you kind of just.
I think we
what? And if
put a cut in there.
You know what? And I probably could copy and paste, but it's just trying to keep up with that. It's just so
back.
Copy and paste, but it's just trying to keep up with that. It's just such an overwhelming amount of information that you kind of just got to take what you've got with you. It reminds me speaking to a friend once. Take what you've got.
A nice nod, right?
With you.
So back to both of us.
With you. It reminds me speaking to a friend once when she was working at a job for a while and she'd been working on various projects. She was changing roles.
Let's just go to me.
And she's like,
we'll jump back
same situation. She's got all this stuff. How do I organize it? What if I don't take it with me? I'm going to lose that work. And it's kind of just got to cut your losses sometimes. I think some people seem to be good at this stuff.
Me for a bit.
Naturally, really well organized. I'm not.
And both of us.
Be who you are. Like, just embrace it.
Nodding.
Because that's even so easy to play the comparison game of.
In this gap.
I've been watching Vanessa Lau on YouTube a lot. she's a fascinating one to go and watch because she just built her YouTube thing up. She left a corporate job and went and started selling coffees in a cafe as she built up her YouTube thing, made a multi-million-dollar business, started selling coffees in a cafe as she built up her YouTube thing, made a multi-million-dollar business, and then a year ago she disappeared because she went on sabbatical for a year, and now she's came back and she's got a really, like, she's being very vulnerable, and you can tell she doesn't know what she burnt out, right? She wasn't happy, and she's trying to find her way back. But she's even now making videos where she's showing her process, and it's all organized. She's got a Notion templates.
All right, so
it's
this
all
is pretty
this,
much
it's all that. And I guarantee you, when she first started, she wasn't
getting through it bit at a
right.
time.
That's, I mean, I say I guarantee.
Break it up
Right,
with
that's,
Ivan's nod.
I mean, I say I guarantee you, but that's my opinion. I don't think she's been, because she will do, and her and a lot of other people will teach videos on, here, this is my system, this is my process. I've got this organized, I've got it organized this way. I've got this organized, I've got it organized this way. I've got all my B-roll in here. I've got all my photos over there. I've got Wednesdays when I do this and Tuesdays when I do that. I've got all this content lined up. And you go, but I bet you for a good chunk of the start of that career, you didn't have that, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful when you're learning from the gurus, that the gurus are speaking from the top of the mountain, and the work you do at the top of the mountain is very different to the work you do at the bottom. And I think you tend to pick that up if you watch enough. Like, that's every once in a while, you'll see one of the content creation experts sort of let slip and go, like, when you're just starting, right? Just make content. Just make, like, you know, because all that advice about getting your thumbnail right and getting your title right, if you haven't made a video yet, then how do you even know what a good thumbnail and a good title looks like?
Yeah, that's it.
And you hear that advice a lot. Just make 100 pieces of content. Make 100. And I think that's some of the best advice. And that's kind of my advice about advice. And when people say take advice with a grain of salt, I think that's why, because it's easy to forget how hard things were when you're a beginner. Probably get it with web development. Like, there's so much about web development that's just part of who I am. I speak the language so fluently that like when you speak English, I don't know the rules of English. When you speak English, I don't know the rules of English. I just speak it.
All right. Pretty exciting stuff, isn't it?
And I think that's the same thing that happens when you're trying to learn.
Another cut.
That's the same thing that happens when you're trying to learn content creation off a fluent content creator. They don't necessarily know how to communicate the nuances that a newbie needs to know. So trust yourself is what I'm getting at a bit. And they're right. Just get out there and do it. So talking about, is it enjoyable? Yeah, that's experiment. Enjoy the process. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm enjoying it tonight. I mean, I've had, like, today I'll sit in front of my computer just brainstorming most of the day. I'm learning patience. It's like, I want to get a video out, but I've also got to learn to not rush that process.
This is all there
is as well, like this balance of
there are tools
this
to help with
balancing
this
act
stuff these
between,
days, but on
I've
a
got to
budget
get
using
content
KDN
out,
Live, this is how you do it.
but I can't just get content out like that's because that's the last video I did take the time to do the thumbnail and the heading first, and it probably took me a couple of days. Whereas it takes, you know, when you see
let's jump in here for
a couple of days, whereas it takes, you know, when you see someone go on their process, I'll do the thumbnail first and make sure most of my effort goes into that. So I booked out an hour. An hour. Yeah, it took me 2 days. Right? It took me 2 days. Right? Because that's new and you just get better at it. So that's slow and steady building up. That's an old analogy about the steam train. You know, when
let's undo that. Okay, that here.
Right? Because that's new and you just get better. 2 days.
Here, and we'll go to one.
Right? Because that's new and you just get better at it. So that's slow and steady building up. That's an old analogy about the steam train. You know, when you've got a steam train, it takes so much energy to get that thing moving, a little bit at a time. But then once it's moving, try and stop it, right? It takes just as much energy to stop it again. So
absolutely.
I think that's
I think we've kind of covered everything.
Yeah. And
so
comments and questions.
Close to it.
I think that's
I think we've kind of covered everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that out.
So
comments and questions.
Comments and questions. Well, no one's giving us comments. Absolutely.
It takes just as much energy to stop it again. So
Absolutely.
Let's do a bit of a cut up until Ivan says, absolutely. Bring that in. And then we cut to Ivan for that. Back to multicam tool. What the?
slow and steady, right? It takes just as much energy to stop it again. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to give it a save while we're here. Tool, multicam, jump up to Ivan.
Absolutely. That's
I
it.
think that's
Absolutely. That's it.
think
Absolutely.
Might even.
That's
I
it.
think that's
I think we've kind of covered everything.
yeah. And
So
comments and questions.
Let's just jump to here. From here. What have we got? How's this go?
Right, it takes just as much energy. Most of my effort goes into that. So I booked out an hour.
There's some weird bits going on here. This it's all me for Amy.
Right.
That should
An
be
hour. Yeah, it took me 2 days.
both of us.
Right, because that's new and you just get better at it. So that's slow and steady building up. That's an old analogy about the train, the steam train. You know, when you've got a steam train, it takes so much energy to get that
Yeah.
thing moving, a little bit at a time. But then once it's moving, try and stop it. Right, it takes just as much energy to stop it again. So
Absolutely.
No.
So
comments and questions.
So
Comments and questions.
comments and questions. Well, no one's giving us comments. Please add questions.
Add questions.
Yes.
And we'll call you out. We know who you are.
Well,
Ivan in a
let's
second.
finish things up and summarize the key points. Should you?
Don't say.
Well, let's finish.
No, finish things up.
Well, let's finish things up and summarize the key points. Up and summarize the key points. Should you enjoy?
Let's just cut that out.
Add questions.
Yeah.
Gives you to stop it again. So
Absolutely.
No.
So
comments and questions.
comments and questions. Well, no one's giving us comments. Please add questions.
Add questions.
Yes.
And we'll call you out. We know who you are.
Well, should you enjoy the?
Alright, so let's go there, turn multi-tool back on. There we go, we're on Ivan, that's good.
Should you enjoy the content creation process? Maybe. Like, it's not a simple binary yes or no. Like, you are going to have days where
I
it's
was going to say 100% yes, but yeah.
well, you're going to have you're going to have days where it feels like a slog, and
Yes.
you're trying to draw blood out of a stone, and other days it's going to flow. And I do think just figure out.
All he cuts towards the end.
Days it's going to flow, and I do think just figure out. It comes down to also figuring out what type of content you like to produce. Is it video? To produce? Is it video? Is it audio? Is it short form video? Is it short posts?
Yeah.
Is it, you know
And
what I
what are
mean?
you doing it for?
Yeah,
That's the old
and what
classic.
you're doing it for as well. That makes it a lot easier
Yeah.
when you're trying to push content out. It's like, okay, yes, you know, I heard a great analogy. So I heard a great analogy. So I've probably mentioned this before, but I do follow 2 guys that run the Ship 30 for 30, and the whole thing is about just creating these atomic essays and things like that. And they essentially say every time they create a piece of content, it's like a lottery. That you want to try out content, it's like a lottery. That you want to try out different types of content because you don't know how
Wrong one.
different types of content because you don't know how it's going to perform, and you might stumble across something. It's like, well, actually, this works pretty well.
Let's say it's a lottery that compounds every time you enter the lottery. There's more chance of winning than there was the previous entry.
So
Yeah.
like you need to be in it, and you need to win it, as they say. Also, be consistent and just create that large pool of content, and then see over time what works. What works.
Yeah, I think that's why I talk about that you can't steer a parked car.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? That's my channel is a bit of a hodgepodge of various different things as I produce content, learn momentum, learn what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy, learn what the audience is responding to, learn what the algorithms respond, learn what the audience is responding to, learn what the algorithms responding to, right? And all sorts of insights I couldn't have if I didn't start. So trying to, even when I started, it's like, I don't know exactly what I want my channel to be about. And there's so much advice about niche down, you know, I don't know. But as time moves forward, that's clarity. I'm getting more and more clarity all the time about what it is I'm doing and what I'm building. Of course, I just started, right? And if I'd listened to that advice, is you've got to have a niche, I never would have started. Got to have a niche, I never would have started. I just had to start and go, I'm making some random video. Like, just
Exactly.
What have I got? It's not the best idea in the world. I've got an idea. I'm making a video. Go.
Absolutely. And like, I know with myself, I've been wanting to do videos about other things, not just web stuff. And I do have.
Not just the D word.
Yeah.
Which we've done so good.
Oh no, we haven't even mentioned it.
If we don't mention it at all, I don't need to listen to the whole podcast to count them all.
Oh, there you go. Don't say it. But things like doing videos on all the SaaS applications that I use, doing short form content like that. You know, there's so many little tricks I know about using a Mac and Mac OS that I want to put somewhere, but it's not. But I've niched down too much in one part, but then under my
Why did I just press?
doing videos on all the SaaS app Mac OS that I want to put somewhere, but it's not. But I've niched down too much in one part.
We wanted that to be
doing videos on, but things like doing videos. Doing videos on all the SaaS applications that I use, doing short form content like that. You know, there's so many little tricks I know about using a Mac and Mac OS that I want to put somewhere, but it's not. But I've niched down too much in one part, but then under my personal brand, I want to kind of try out and try different things.
That's the challenge I've got. That's the challenge I've got at the moment, is to split ideas and overthinking and questioning, because that's my channel's very much more like some of the stuff I spoke about today, like some of the personal development stuff about focus, all this stuff about just getting in and doing it. That's what I really love to talk about. Yeah, I've got all this tech background, and I did a live stream the other day as I was learning. I sat down with the KDE manual and went through the quick start on a live stream. I want to do that again because it kept me so focused.
Yeah.
But it doesn't align with the rest of my channel so much. And so that's where I'm working. Then should I make a separate channel? Should I make one? And then you know what? The niche is Bevan talks about life and how to change your career and how to start anew and how to bring your old skills to fore. who cares if I've got a video on learning KDE live? Like, if people come and join me, start interacting, we'll start having a conversation. Like, when they're not getting any feedback, it's just like, and then this is how you, and then what's the next step? You do this, and it's not. But I think there's something. Same thing. You can't. Like, I've got to be willing to make a mistake. So I'm probably talking myself into it at the moment. Is okay. When they're not getting any feedback, it's just like, and then this is how you, and then what's the next step? You do this, and it's not.
Saying
but
random crap.
I think there's something. Same thing. You can't. Like, but
jump anyway.
I think there's something. Same thing. You can't. Like, I've got to be willing to make a mistake. So I'm probably talking myself into it at the moment. Is my channel is just a bit of a variety thing. That's what I was trying to allude to before about what if you lock yourself in and you make a mistake early, and then what if I start putting various content on my channel that I should have put on 2 channels, right? That's kind of a point of no return. Once I've put it up all on one channel, it's very, very difficult to pivot and split it into 2 channels again and start another one. Or is it? Like, I guess cross that bridge when you get to it. But
well, I mean, isn't that a nice problem to have?
Yeah, I guess.
Get to a point and all of a sudden one of your videos shoot up in popularity.
Yeah, you know. That's I guess that's the lesson. Just keep going. I mean, I've been wanting to sit down and do the next part of that live because that's part of documenting that's almost like a vlog, right? Hey, I'm learning this editing software. Might as well go on live and watch me go through the tutorial. Someone who knows, right?
Yeah.
But but I mean, that if no one watches, it doesn't matter because it keeps my focus was better because I'm sitting there literally looking at the camera and explaining to it and going, this doesn't make sense. Let's check this out.
Yeah.
How does this work? Oh, I know this. Oh, I learned something. That's exciting. And then if I'd not been on camera, I'd be going out and topping up my coffee every 5 minutes, right? But instead I sat there for an hour and a half. And so I think that's one of the great things about content creation. I saw Vanessa Lau did the same thing. She did a 2-day vlog of her workflow process and got to the end. She goes, I wouldn't have got this work done if I wasn't doing this recording at all. She goes, same. So I think, I don't know. I think part of this new economy is part of that. Like, kind of, it's a shame in a lot of the web development stuff where you've got lots of private IP. It's just, wouldn't it be great to just be able to like vlog your job? Which is kind of what I'm doing. I'm like this. I love it. It's like, hey,
yeah. Well,
you know,
if you're a web developer and you want to live stream while you're writing code for your next micro SaaS like side hustle, other people have done that. I've seen them do it. Like,
I think if you're thinking about it, you might as well just go and do it. What does it cost you? It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, I forgot the name. There are some famous of like YouTube, Twitter famous developers that have side hustles that make, 100,000 a month or something. And they kind of started off just by live streaming their work. And it's literally them with like, well, I can't do it with this camera, but just imagine my camera's down and it's like them just,
you just see their keyboard.
Like they are just literally just coding.
That's what Twitch is like, right? You just sit there for hours until there's someone here.
Yeah,
I've never used Twitch.
Yeah, and I thought maybe with my live streams I'm preparing too much.
Exciting.
Maybe I should just be more relaxed.
Talking about
and just be like,
people just coding.
Okay.
You get to watch me edit.
Listen, I'm doing something. Whereas normally I don't like there to be dead air. But I have seen some.
You've got to.
I
like what you do with your live streams, but then.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I have seen some developers that are just like programming things in like C# or something, and it's them like there's like a minute of silence, and it's just.
You see, I'll get caught by.
And they're just looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And
it's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm not going to use the D word, but I know sometimes I struggle, right? And I'd love to have an audience just to sit there. Well, I'd hate to have an audience to go, "What are you doing, you idiot?"
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But I'm sure I've seen streams like that as well, where people are doing something and then they look at the comments and someone go, "Do this," and they go, "Oh, thanks," right? So someone in the comments has just gone, you know you can do that half an hour job in a second just by pressing this button. Oh, right, it's a great. It's like pair programming with an audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I just thought
Alrighty,
now,
right.
like,
Oh, that big gap. Oh, pop that out of here.
like, why?
Why is it on me?
oh, thanks. Right. So someone in the comments.
Go here. Is that lined up? Tool. Multicam tool. Both of us. Got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Well, I just thought now, like,
And then on this cut, we'll jump to Ivan. Ivan.
why couldn't I just allocate? Well, we can't do it these nights, of course, because we're recording. But every other night where I've got like 20 minutes free, I just stream it. 20 minutes free, I just stream it.
Yeah, well,
I'll
that's
be
the sort of
curious
thing I'm
to see
thinking too.
what would happen just by being getting content out there, getting your name out there. Because marketing, I've said it before, 80-90% of marketing is just reminding people you exist.
I think that's the word on the street in content is everybody's bored of all this flashing, and the platforms are changing, trying to get this repetitive, annoying, cheap, low quality content. Like, people are over it. The fashion's wearing off, and so there's a lot of talk about authenticity. People want something interesting to watch. It's funny, I was watching things the other day about, here on one hand, shorts killed YouTube, but on the other hand, people go that YouTube's getting more because people are getting bored of watching you're walking around at work, you're on the bus on the way home, you're watching your short form, and when you got home, you just want to put your phone away and be able to just sit back and eat dinner, right, and put your phone down and watch long form. So it's actually the short form content's making people consume more long form too. There's always these ironic things in the world, these paradoxes.
Ready, and switch.
Absolutely.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yep.
Oh,
all right.
Done.
Thanks for listening.
Right.
And
next time.
come in comments.
Yes.
Tell us what you want to hear about next week, because we've got so many ideas, but we want to know what you want to know so that we can talk to that. Interact with us. Come on the ride. We want to hear from you so we can see you in 2 weeks' time.
Cool. All right.
Ciao.
See you later. All right.
Ciao.
See you later.
All right, and I think that's a wrap for.
All right.
Okay. Let's take those bits off. Press save. Oh, it's come over the other screen. You guys want to see the whole lot? Let's have a quick little. Yeah, my timer's not.
Hello and welcome to another
Hold on. There it is. And let's turn.
episode of the Code and Character podcast. I'm Ivan, and I'm joined here with
We don't need that screen on. Here we go. That's better.
Bevan, and today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, which is, should you enjoy the content creation process? Because
Right.
if you're on
We're
LinkedIn, if you're on any type of platform, it's all about social media and creating a personal brand. And they always talk about being consistent with content. Even on YouTube, everyone wants to be a YouTuber. I honestly
Right, no,
remember
gonna have to come
hearing
back
somewhere
later. Let's
where
wrap this up. For now, I'm going to come back, select some highlights to put at the front, put my little intro on it, and then this thing's ready to go. That's all it's going to take. Probably should do some color grading on my footage. It's very orange, but I'm no expert on colors and stuff. I am feeling like I'm learning to understand how to spot that. I mean, Ivan's coloring and stuff looks great, I think. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. But mine, I wonder if I can do that now that it's all cut up. You know, like that's a quick. let's have a quick look. See,
That's the most
Yeah,
Aussie.
well,
so orange, right? Color. Let's bring this up here. See, it's kind of, what's the thing for the coloring? Temperature. Templates. Color temperature. Why did that just... What's going on?
And Bevan and I thought it would be great to have a chat to actually see, do you enjoy?
What did I just do?
And Bevan and I thought it would be great to have a chat to actually see, do you enjoy the whole?
Funny that it changes it like that. Is that some kind of zoom or just a dodgy... That's so, makes it so hard to tell what's going on. Oh, that's awful. All right, forget about it. Bugger it. Let's go back to editing view.
Creating content.
yeah, nah. Yeah.
That's the most
Yeah.
Aussie.
All right, I don't like seeing the audio mixer. Can we turn that off? Gets in my way. Like this. Okay, see you guys later.